Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a wonderful privilege to be here today. I know Akram for many, many years, but it's a special honor to be here today to talk to you about things that, and I always say that, things you don't find on Google. And that means we do deep research into his life and into the insights that we can reach today. This particular series was started almost a year and a half ago, and I remember the very first one. It's about connecting from the heart. It's about emotions, and it's about finding inspiration and then reaching out with that inspiration and going back into your day-to-day lives and then work on it in terms of your business, your family, and so on. All of the people that we have featured are great personalities in their own right. But today is a very special day, and I'd like to start with something entirely different. This is an amazing tribute by a loving son to a father. This tribute was for Akram's 70th birthday this year. It was the 29th of May. So let's just share that story and then come into today. Many moons ago, in a faraway city of Tripoli, a baby was born to a beautiful teacher and a charming jeweler. This was the start of the man who can. Only a few months old, his father asked him, "Son, you can crawl." "Yes, I can. Yes, I can," said the baby who can. Within the year, his mother asked, "Son, you can walk." "Yes, I can. Yes, I can." And then he got up and ran. Soon the baby who became the boy who can. His friends would ask, "There's a fig up the tree, can you get it?" He said, "Yes, I can. Yes, I can." And he reached out, said the baby who can. Soon the baby who can became the boy who can. His friends would ask, "There's a fig up the tree, you can go and get it." And he said, "Yes, I can." One day, with only a few liras in his pocket, he left Tripoli to start a new life in Beirut. His friends would say, "It's dangerous out there. You won't make it." But this did not bother the boy who can. "Yes, I can," he said. "Yes, I can." He loved reading and learning. So he read and sold books and encyclopedias. When the teacher said, "You won't be able to pay for your school," he said, "Yes, I can. Yes, I can." The boy who can became the man who can. As he put himself through university, he met a very pretty lady with a beautiful mind and soul. He asked her, "Will you marry me?" And luckily for him, she said, "Yes, I can. Yes, I can." After tasting great success, he was rewarded with the best gift in life, 2 handsome young children. Soon he started an advertising agency with 6 of his friends. And while his competitors said, "You're crazy. You can't compete," he just smiled at them and said, "Yes, I can. Yes, I can." And he built his empire across the entire Middle East. People from all over the world wanted to work with no other man than the man who can. They came from Germany, Hong Kong, America, and from all across the world to become a part of his success. He loved art and antiques, so he built a museum. He loved cars, so he collected the rarest in the world. He loved buildings and creating, so he built enormous towers and communities in the places he loved. He loved travel, so he circled the globe 1,000 times. He grew tired of eating sushi in pretentious restaurants and thought, can I build my own? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. There is nothing like the man who can that he left untouched. Wherever he went, whatever he did, he made everything he touched better. The man who can was fueled by love, by passion, and perseverance, and spent the days thinking of ways to do things bigger and better. Why? Because each and every day, he would wake up and say, I am the man who can. Of course I can. This, ladies and gentlemen, was the tribute for his 70th birthday. Please put your hands together for the great Akram Miknas. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Tariq. I mean, you know, obviously everybody knows me now, so I
They
have
do.
to talk about you probably.
This is true. You can talk about me, but nobody saw this on Google, did they? Because that was the key here. Akram, can I take you back to that day on the 29th of May to ask, what were your emotions? Your family was around you. How did you feel at that point in time?
You know, moments like this cannot be really described because they culminate a lot of emotions. They, you know, you peak at hours like that. I didn't expect so much fuss because to me, life just began, and I think somebody concluded that this is a good time to give me a small review, and that's why the 70s. But of course, the collection of my family and a lot of special friends who probably shared with me some of the experiences. I'm sure my kids have shared almost all their life's experience with me, gave me really a very special, gave it a very special meaning. And I was very thrilled to see this. I am writing a book, it's almost finished, and probably he hijacked my book and, and the rest is history. I don't know if I can write my book anymore.
Akram, let's do a little flashback to when you were a little boy. Your mother passed away when you were 12 years old. Can you tell us how that moment felt and how you started developing your life from there?
You know, when your mother dies, you have no choice. She just dies. My father and my mother were divorced anyway, and I was living with my mother, who was already also married to another gentleman who was a very nice gentleman. So I hardly really knew my father, but I woke up one day and she died of cancer. I knew that she was dying. She knew that she was dying. So she wanted to prepare me without really alarming me, if you like, to what's going to come. I even remember that she made me a jacket and a tie. And she said, because I know probably nobody is going to give you another jacket and a tie for a while. You know, almost brings tears to my eyes. And she was right, but really the jacket and they were just symbolic of how she wanted me to be seen. She wanted me to be seen in good, respectable manner, and she wasn't sure that anybody was going to help me. My father wanted to help, but you know, we were a big family. He had married 4 wives, and therefore it was almost impossible for him to put me through the sort of school that I was going to when my mother was alive. I went to probably one of the most expensive and important schools in Lebanon called International College. And many friends that I know, whether in Saudi, in Bahrain, in UAE, around the world actually, were from IC, and that school was very, very special because you know, they insisted, if you like, on the internationalism of the school and the brand and the experience. I think that's more than anything else. I wish we have many more like this school now, because that's really what's needed. I think Dubai has a lot, but the rest of the Arab world needs more of those. Anyway, to cut the story short, my mother's will and only will for me was to finish my education. She said, I want nothing else from you. And she kept on repeating it. As I said, she knew she was dying, so therefore she wanted to make sure that I remembered this. And to me, I just couldn't. Whatever I did, I just couldn't stop thinking of that last sentence that she gave me. Of course, to my father, I was like a newcomer, like a new boy born at 14 or 12. To be fair to him, he tried, and we went to international college, and without telling you a lot of the details, I ended up with going there on my own, and I actually imposed myself on a gentleman called Ed Sullivan, who was the head of the boarding school. It was August when she died. And I told him that my mother died and I need to be here. And he simply wouldn't entertain the idea. He thought I was joking. I said, listen, I brought my own mattress with me if this helps. And he said, it doesn't help. But let me see what I can do for you. He realized that I was real in my story. To cut the story short again, because also I don't want to give a lot since I'm writing a book, I would like all of you to read it when I...
The important thing there, Akram, was the special place that education and learning had.
Absolutely.
And what she imbued in
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely. I managed, and as you said, rightly said, I started selling encyclopedia. Before that, I also sold some cosmetic stuff, etc., from home to home, and I was very much fond of movies, as you can tell, so I was learning. In the movies, I saw how American boys would go and work and earn extra $1 here or there selling lemonade or selling